Samhitha.
I'm Amrutha.
And my name is Anusha.
We are Project Aegis Team 15. We are
I'm sorry.
integrating AI into
I think your audio is breaking up. I do want judges to hear clearly. Can you fix your audio?
Can you hear me?
We can. Just say a little bit more.
Is it clear?
It's a little bit muffy. It's not.
So you may need to just turn off your video for this portion so that we can hear your voice. That sometimes will free up the channel.
Yeah.
Just turn off your video and we'll continue to listen. There you go.
Okay. Okay. We are Project Aegis, team number 15. We are addressing NGN goal number 17, integrating AI into society. We would like the judges to play the roles of investors and social entrepreneurs. We used to have a fourth member, Alekhya Palepu, but she's unfortunately no longer a party. A woman is raped every 73 seconds in America. A woman is raped every 36 seconds in South Africa. A woman is raped every 120 seconds in Brazil. Sexual violence towards women is an issue limited to no country. Women are still not shown the same amount of respect as men, and therefore they are more easily objectified to rape and sexual assault. When someone faces a situation such as sexual assault or rape, there is usually a time interval where the victim is suspicious of their surroundings. This period of time is crucial because it can make the difference between life and death for someone. The suspicion someone has can easily escalate from a small doubt to a real danger. In most societies around the world, there are only a few options to call for help when faced with a suspicious situation. One of these options is to call the police. However, calling the police can be an abrupt action for a small doubt. Moreover, many women may think they are just paranoid and overlook suspicion. The second choice is to call for friends to get aid and advice. In this case, the suspicion could still be relatively low and they may think it's not necessary. However, when the victim realizes that the danger is real, they may not have the time to contact anyone. The fact that we are living in the 21st century and there are only a few flawed methods to prevent violence against women is disturbing. Therefore, it is up to the victim to imagine the worst case scenario and take action. Hence, our app Aegis is targeted towards protecting women when the need arises, though our application can be used by anyone.
We are the shield for those in dire need of protection. Our application Aegis comes into play in situations where doubt and suspicion is a major factor in whether the user calls for help. Our application acts as a safety net to prevent assault and other attacks from occurring by contacting the user's network of friends about the user being in potential danger. Even if the danger happens to be nothing, Aegis is a way for all women to feel as if someone has their backs anywhere and anytime. Our application uses two dynamically changing threat levels to categorize the severity of the suspicious situation that the user is undergoing. The first threat level is used when the user is suspicious of their situation but is unsure if the threat or danger is real. When this is clicked, our application starts monitoring the user by starting a 5-minute timer. If the time is up and the user has still not deactivated the threat, Aegis escalates to a level 2 threat. The level 2 threat is used when the user knows something is wrong or if the timer has expired. Aegis then sends the location of the user to its network of friends. Therefore, either due to the response or lack of response by the user, Aegis deactivates or escalates the threat. Aegis is with the user until they say everything is all right. Therefore, our application allows the user to take the threat that they're facing step by step based on the situation, rather than directing them to an abrupt action, such as calling the police immediately if they're not even sure whether the danger is real. Our application bridges the gap between suspicion and action to ensure that even if all one has is an inkling of doubt that something is wrong, they are protected from any potential danger. The society that we live in today is flawed, and it is time that an option for safety be opened up for women. We would like the judges to invest in our application so we can direct those funds towards expanding our app and covering the basic startup costs. We are asking for $20,000 as seed money to build the back-end engines that will allow us to scale up our app to its full potential and to finally launch it.
Here is a demo of our application.
Here we see Anusha creating an account. She enters a username, email, and password. Aegis checks Firebase to make sure her username and email are unique. When you log in, you can view the home page, friends page, find friends page, and the view requests page. Here, Anusha sends me a friend request, and I accept her request. You can click on any of your friends from the list to start texting them. When you click on the level 1 threat button, Aegis begins a 5-minute countdown timer. Every minute, a message is displayed telling the user how much time they have left. When the timer expires, a message is sent to the user's friends telling them that the user is in trouble. Their friends can click on the message to get Google Maps directions to their friend's location. You can also forego the 5-minute timer and immediately send a message to your friends if the situation calls for it. The texting system allows for the user's friends to check in with them and verify that they are safe. For too long, women have been faced with unfair treatment. It is time that an option for safety be opened up specifically for women. We are Team 15, Project Aegis. Our team members are Amrutha Tummala, Anusha Rapuru, and Samhitha Ravi. We created the app Aegis in order to save women around the world from sexual assault and rape. Even if someone is just doubtful that they are in danger, they will always have an option for safety and can easily contact their friends and family. We would like the judges to invest in our app so that we can launch Aegis to its full potential in order to save lives. Thank you. We are now open to questions.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. I have a quick couple of technical and product related questions. What would the user journey actually look like? Because this is a standalone app. If you consider there are some applications that are really for old ages, like fall detection and things like that, and it will automatically configure and somebody else will get a call if you fall. Then maybe you're familiar with Uber. Uber also has something similar in the feature, but that's within the context of when it is getting used. So how are you expecting that as an individual, you need to basically first go download, install this app, and explicitly actually operate on it in order it to be used. Have you thought through how you can actually integrate with other existing things so that the whole action of threat detection and even being able to notify somebody else is kind of invisible?
Yeah, so we definitely thought about integrating this into different type of scenarios. Like you said, like with Uber, there's similar things like that. But right now we believe, so when you first download the app, in the future, we plan to have a panic button, similar on your iPhone, where you can click emergency call and you can immediately call 911, just a similar panic button. So it's very accessible. And also since this is a very basic concept, we can integrate this in so many other ideas. For example, if you have home security, we can also integrate this in that. So it can be a network of friends who are there. Yeah, we can integrate it in multiple types of things for the future.
All right. Are there any other questions?
Can you describe the advantages of using this particular development over something like Signal or just traditional text?
Yeah. So basically, what this application is primarily focused on is that even though text exists, the issue is that nobody calls or texts when cases like sexual assault happen because they're not sure the danger exists yet. But what our app wants to do is that we want to take that first initial doubt of suspicion that something is wrong in your environment, and we want to bridge the gap between suspicion and action, because by the time you realize there's a real danger, it may be too late to text someone or to call someone. So our app does everything manually.
And to add on to what Anusha said, because if something is wrong, you might not have enough time to contact multiple people, which is why our button, just like the moment you click it, it sends it to all of your friends, so that everyone like on your friends list gets the message.
And the situation can change really quickly. Like 1 second you just have a doubt, and the next second it's already happening. And in that period of time, you really don't have time to manually contact or text your friends. And say someone doesn't pick up, that's also something you have to consider. So this app is doing it for you. So
Is it automatically doing it for you?
Yes.
How is
Yeah.
it automatically doing it for you?
So like we mentioned, if you're just suspicious, you click the level 1 threat, and then our app automatically just starts monitoring, because if the situation was like, you know for sure something is wrong, then you would click the level 2 threat. But the level 1 threat is only for a small suspicion, like you don't even know if there's danger. We start monitoring by starting a 5-minute timer, and if the time is up, then it goes to a level 2 threat, which automatically sends your location to your network of friends via the app.
Do you have a goal for this data? It strikes me that each of you has spent a lot of time researching this particular issue, and that you have some idea about intuition playing a role. I'm interchanging a word there. You're calling it suspicion, but I'm saying it's situational awareness is something else that you could look at, that particular phrase. Have you thought about doing a bit more research on how you could use this type of data to help protect people in a different way? Maybe not necessarily in the development of an app, but to me, I'm still hearing that it's very similar to something that I could already have on my phone. My iPhone already has an emergency button that may be faster than opening an app, right? But I hear an academic interest from each of you in the different levels of threat, and almost like teaching people to be aware of what those levels are. Do any of you want to speak to that a little bit more?
Yeah, I definitely think that like suspicion, like levels of threat, because you have to imagine the worst case scenario, because that's the only way you can protect yourself from potential danger. So that's the basic foundation of how we built our application, from just being aware, like knowing that fact, because then you can share your awareness or this current situation you're in to your friends and family, who will give you aid and advice on like what to do.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
I don't have specific questions. I mean, this is definitely a presentation that has you think about a lot of things. I guess I'm sure most of you know that most cases of sexual assault do not happen from a stranger assaulting you on the street, but from people that you know, unfortunately, and that you might be in your trusted circle. So just kind of how to account for those kinds of situations of sexual assault. Like, I know it's particularly in situations of parties and drinking, and kind of like in that kind of situation where there might be a lot of people around, but not knowing kind of what the situation. I don't have a specific question. I'm just trying to think about the problem in the way I've seen sexual assault dealt with in so many different ways, and it's admirable that you guys are thinking about this situation. But maybe to do a little bit of research on like what is the statistic? I you know, you have the statistic how often rape happens, but how often does it happen from a stranger when you're walking down the street versus other situations where it might be more likely to happen.
And then I want to add to that in terms of reputation and what happens if a woman does reach out to a group and people don't answer. What could the potential impact be? And then how might that change, you know, your sense of duty or responsibility to your friend when you're put on that safe list, because I can only imagine how devastating it would be to receive an SOS call for help and then to have missed it in some way. But beyond that, there's some cultures that very much alienate and punish women for speaking out, and that data being available and trackable from your phone may continue to follow you into the future. So I think the three of you have a very strong, again, academic interest in this, and there is likely to be a lot more evidence-based data that you can find, as Samina is suggesting, about who is most likely to commit a sexual assault or potential rape. And I think that potentially using some empowering language for the woman who you're marketing to would be very helpful. I don't think that it's about being necessarily suspicious and paranoid, because that plays into an old narrative that women are emotional and not to be trusted and whatever it may be. So you want to think about it in terms of empowering terms. There's a lot of neuroscience to go with this. The phrase you're looking for is situational awareness. And that is something that you may be able to take into other areas where you look at not only helping people to confirm and validate that sense that something's going on, but also then to know how to respond. If what we're talking about is more like you're walking down the street to your parking garage, or you're between classes, you know, I think there are different scenarios for different women of different ages. But overall, I really want to commend you for taking on a very serious issue, and one that the world has not solved. And I want to encourage you to continue to research it and think about ways that you can create more advocates in this circle of friends that you already have. And I also want to recognize that you've obviously found some kind of psychological safety among your friendships to want to build an app where you feel you can share this kind of information and somebody will reach back. That's very, very important. So for the person who's isolated, what are her options? Who can she call? Maybe it goes to a domestic violence center, maybe because it's a relative, right? Those are just some ideas about other ways you could connect this to something larger. But thank you all for presenting. It was very meaningful.
Thank you.